All right, how we doing today, YouTubers? Let's jump in, and today we want to talk about with my training. When I'm training someone, some call it constraint-based training. You can call it different things, but so using a constraint, and what I mean by a constraint, something like it could be when we're jumping a hurdle. You use a hurdle; it's a constraint. It holds you. It gives you something to jump over or sometimes through or trip over, whatever. You're constrained to accomplishing that or getting over that. It could be an obstacle as well. We use hurdles, cones for we'll set boundaries or lines like in a sport in basketball. The constraint is the court. You go at the court, that's out of bounds. So that's what I mean by constraints. And we use a lot of constraints in coaching. We'll change up the rules, change up maybe a jump on this foot only, or you can only move this certain way, or use your left hand, or eyes closed, or just a bunch of different constraints in tons of different situations, whether it's a small-sided game or a competition or jumps or sprints or whatever it may be. Even in you can do it in lifting. A constraint is the weight. The barbell on your back is for a squat is a constraint. So that's what I want you to think of as constraints. And I use constraints in my coaching all the time because I think it helps people grow. It helps me coach, but it also helps unlock freedom. It unlocks creativity. Where I say, your only constraint is this hurdle, so jump over it, but you can't jump over it the same way twice. Something like that. That would be something I would use. And it gets people thinking, oh, I just jumped over this with 2 feet facing forward. How can I do it again? Maybe I can spin, or one leg, or whatever it may be. And it allows coaching to meet certain needs. Maybe it's a way that you notice one of your clients struggles with. Maybe my client would struggle with. Let me think of it. I'm trying to think of one I recently used. Maybe he's weak with coordination with catching with his left hand or something, man. Or you notice they're not good at going to their right, dribbling a basketball, or just sprinting and cutting right. They're just weak that way. So you'd set up constraints without them even knowing necessarily that we're working on this skill, or getting them to do dribble to the right, or sprint to the right, or cut to the right, whatever the case may be. A lot of times you don't tell them that. You just give them this constraint, this boundary, whatever it may be, and then they get better at doing whatever they're weak at without it. Or here's one that I've used. We got one kid who's a bigger kid, a stronger kid, is bigger, taller than a lot of the other kids, because we got age groups from 4th grade up to 8th grade in our summer, in our boys group anyway. And a lot of times we'll be playing handball or something like that, and he just likes to muscle his way and run over people because he's not the quickest, not the most agile athlete, where some of the smaller, quicker kids can use that to their ability. So we'd make a rule like, you can't use your hands. You can't plow people over. You gotta use your agility, because that's what we want them to work on, and not actually just come out and say, oh, we're gonna work on your agility, so we're just gonna run from cone to cone or some stupid thing like that, or do a ladder drill. No, we're gonna put it in a game, add the constraint where you can't use your running in people over or stiff arming or whatever it is. You gotta get around them in some other way, not having body contact with another person, or whatever it is, that kind of thing, to get them to work on and get better at these skills that they're not the greatest at right now, and get them on that from the shit to suck to good to great, that type of thing. So it's just another way to help athletes, help clients, help people work on different skills and different things, and adding a constraint and using that constraint-based coaching. But that's part of it, and I'll maybe do a whole other video on different constraints. But I want to talk more about constraints as well in training, but more so in your life, because we all have constraints, but a lot of times you let those constraints become your downfall. You use them as excuses. So, what could be constraints in our life? I'm talking about things like your family, your job, kids being in extracurricular activities, sports, choir, band, other events, whatever they got going on, and finances, all these different things in life that are constraints, or you could look at them as obstacles or things like that. But a lot of times, these constraints, you're constrained by your 8 hours a day at work. So you can't do a lot of other things while you're at work. So that's a constraint. But most of the time, you use these constraints as excuses of why you can't live a healthier life, why you can't eat better or get more sleep or train. And we make all these excuses and these stories and tell ourselves, and then we blame it on, oh, my job, I work too many hours, or oh, I got to chase my kids around to 55 different events each week. I can't get to bed that time. So you're thinking of all these constraints in life, and a lot of them are good. They're good things. You want to have the family and the kids and have them in a lot of events and sports and stuff like that. That's good stuff. Your job, maybe that's good or bad depending on how you like it. Most people hate their job, and I don't know why they do that to themselves. I did that for too long. But again, it's managing all the stuff that's thrown at you with these constraints in your life and switching your mindset to, oh, I can't do this because, or what if we just shift it and start figuring out other ways? Instead of it being a problem, find that solution. So again, maybe it's you're chasing your kids around to sporting events. Again, I think I'm not a parent, so you can parent your kids however you want. Most kids are in too many things at once, especially with sports. You should, I think, just limit them to one sport per season is always a good thing with that multiple sport athlete. I think that's the best way to go. Even if they are doing one sport all year round, they should be in some sort of training as well, so they get the other skill development that they need to be a good athlete. But again, if you're not going to cut back on sports and extracurriculars, but a lot of times when you're doing that, you're chasing around, you blame, oh, you don't have time, so you go to every drive-through because that's quick and easy and cheap. When then you look at your bill and you realize it's not easy. It's usually not quick. You're usually waiting in the drive-through for minutes, and it's definitely not cheap. When you look at that as a problem and you blame that's why you're overweight. That's why you're obese. That's why because you eat all this garbage all the time at fast food restaurants. When instead, maybe you find some time. A solution would be plan some time. You're gonna make up some dinners that you're gonna bring with you in a cooler or that type of thing, or have it ready and you can just pop it in the microwave or pop it on the stove to reheat when you get home. Planning ahead, preparing ahead. That could be so. Looking for these solutions, and yes, we're gonna have constraints, but use them to your benefit. You don't have time to train again. Another one's always the work. Oh, I gotta get up early to go to work, but I'm gonna work late because I gotta grind and do all that stuff. So the boss knows I'm doing the best work I can because I'm just doing all this stupid busy work that's not actually getting any work done. You're just making it look like you're working. I know how that goes, but that's just another excuse. That you're using it. No, I don't have time to train because I gotta work or whatever. Gotta go to bed or go to train early or go to work early. And after work, when I get home, I'm just dead tired and I gotta make supper and bring the kids to wherever. Because you think you're so stuck that training has to be this 2 hour, 3 hour session at a gym or in a group class or whatever. It doesn't fit your schedule. So what? You can train at home. You can build a home gym. You could go to the gym at a different time. You can go to bed a little bit earlier, get up a little earlier, and go to bed before that. Or you can just suck it up and get your training in after work. And then once you do that for a while, you realize you start to feel better, and it becomes a habit. You build it in. So again, we're looking at these constraints and using them as excuses when you can actually use them and figure out ways to work with the constraints and build solutions. And that's what I want you guys to think of rather than just throwing everything out the window because, I have to work so much, or, I have to chase the kids around. So I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't have that. So I'm just going to grab this crappy meal from McDonald's, or I'm just going to skip eating, or I'm just going to slam a coffee before I go to work because I can't get a good breakfast in. Or not even, coffee's not good because coffee's fine. But then, or that, then I want to be, you're so slammed that all you're drinking is, you're not going to bed either because you got to work so hard and stay up late. So you're so tired, you got to slam coffee and then more caffeine and more caffeine and more caffeine, and that just becomes a constraint and a crutch that you use. Whereas if you went to bed, you probably won't need that. If you ate better, you probably would have the energy to get through the day. So that would be another thing. If you're tired after work, eat better. Go to bed. That's going to give you some more energy. Again, think of solutions. Don't just state a problem. Yes, there's a lot of problems, a lot of constraints, but there's always a solution to overcome. That's what we use with training. Find the solution. I want my clients to become problem solvers, overcome these problems. There's different ways to solve every problem, just like a lot of math problems. You can solve them in different ways, a different method. Whatever works best for you. What works best for you might not work best for someone else, and that's totally fine. It's about finding the solutions that work best for you to work within these constraints and help you overcome these obstacles to get you so much more, because we use these constraints too much as excuses, and instead look at them as an opportunity to solve the problem, an opportunity to make yourself better, improve your health, and build healthy habits around the constraints, because as human beings we're capable of so much more than we even think. A lot of it comes from these constraints and building this mindset and telling ourselves all these stories, and then we just get down the dumps and so negative. And yes, we're human beings, we're going to be negative sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that, but know that you're capable of much more. And honestly, the biggest constraint is you're holding yourself back with all these BS excuses you're telling yourself. And once you kind of realize that, and hopefully you realize that, it takes time. It's going to take time to build habits and figure out these ways. But if you need any help, that's what I'm here for. Reach out. We can jump on a free consult. I'll give you a free consult. So, or if you want to start working with me, click the link in the show notes, and we'll jump on that and get you going and help build. That's what my program, my coaching is. It's not just building a training plan for you. It's helping you build a healthy lifestyle and healthy habits that you can take with you for whether you work with me 2 months, 3 months, 10 months, 10 years. Then you can have these and be able to do this, because you don't need a coach. You don't need anyone, really. You need yourself. You need your family to support you. But mainly you just need you. And again, you're the biggest constraint in your life. You're the biggest problem, but you're also the solution to the problem. So it's just about figuring out what you need to do to get you to where you want to be and feeling better, moving better, getting leaner, building some muscle, running faster, sprinting faster, just having better, cholesterol or blood markers or whatever your health goals are. It starts with you and it ends with you. You are the main thing. You are the problem. You are the solution. You are the constraint. So figure out what you need to do. If you need help with that, I'm here for you. But again, it's about helping you become an athlete for life, unleashing greatness in your life, in all areas of your life, and improving your health is a big part of that. Because if you feel better, you're going to do better. You're going to have a better mood. But everything else is going to be more positive in your life. So that's what I have for you today, guys. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully, if you have any questions, again, reach out, drop comments below, or email me, trevor@tagpn.com, if you want to jump on a free consult. And have a great day. Thanks, guys. Happy 4th of July, too.